Yo, what's up, everybody? It's your girl, Lottie Dottie, and I'm in the building hanging out with Retro. Keep it locked. Don't you dare touch that dial.
Hashtag press play. It's the Retro Philosophy Show. Make sure you hit the subscribe button and let your folks know the Retro Philosophy Show is on with morning inspiration.
You already know what it is. It's your homegirl, Lottie Dottie. I'm in the building hanging out with Retro, and he ain't never lying.
Let's go. You know, let's go. Tell them already we're good, tell them again, them again. Tell them already we're good, tell them again, them again. Conquerors, we're more
Yo,
than-
what's up, everybody, including Lottie Dottie? It's your boy Retro with you on today. And I've got a public service announcement for you. Just because you do something that you see an OG do doesn't make you an OG. And just because you get on your motorcycle and you pound from here to there doesn't make you a ground pounder either. You'll never be what you ain't. But hey, like they say in the Army, be all you can be. When you're riding and you get a call from your homie saying, yo, what you up to, where you at? Where's your location? I'm on the bike. And he said, yo, stay put, I'm coming to meet you, I'm on my bike. That's what I'm talking about, man. We out here getting miles and smiles. What's going on? Yes, sir.
My man.
We got you, boss man.
Love you, bro.
Yes, sir.
Yo, what up? This is Marvin Gibson, aka Big Gip, and you are now tuned in to the Retro Philosophy Show.
Say, man, you know what it is, man. Special guest in the building. Much love and respect to my man Retro stopping through, y'all. Y'all know what to do.
Big Cell. You still keeping it 100.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this your man Kodak, the most hated, coming to you live from the Retro Philosophy Show, where I always listen to my man, 50 Grand, Pastor Retro. You know what it is.
Listen, God knows all things. Because he knows all things, he does nothing without intentionality. So if he allowed you to wake up this morning, you ought to live like God wanted you to live on purpose.
I gotta say it. A lot of people like to hold back, but I don't hold back nothing. I take just like it is.
Yes, indeed. What's up, everybody, including Lottie Dottie? You already know what it is, man. It's your boy Retro with you, man. Without any further ado, let's just go ahead and get this party started right now. Right now. Ain't no need to wait. And good morning, everybody. This is the day that the Lord has made. I will rejoice, and I'm going to be glad in it. And the reason I'm going to be glad in it is because I realized, look, check this out now. This is what I tell people. I used to tell the church this all the time. If you do not have the ability to create a day, then you don't have the right to complain about a day. Let me see if I can make that sound a little bit simpler. This is the day that he has made, and I couldn't have done a better job. I could have done a worse job, but I couldn't have done the job, period, because I cannot create a day. Therefore, I ought to be grateful. It's almost like you got the audacity to be up in a church service and, ooh, he messing up on them drums. Ooh, she messing up on that keyboard. And you can't play not a note to save your life. So how are you going to tear apart, tear down, and belittle what someone else is doing? Okay, you understand what the point that I'm making? So since I cannot create a day, I don't have a right to say Monday is better than Friday, or Friday is better than Tuesday, or Wednesday is better than Sunday, or et cetera, et cetera. No, I'm just going to be grateful that I get to experience a day. Take it a step further. Don't let a few bad moments ruin an entire 24 hours. So here you have been blessed with this day. And I get it, it's Monday, but we're going to get this party started. Ladies and gentlemen, saints and saints, let's make some noise for C1s in the building. Says good morning to everybody. Teflon is in the building as well. What's going on, bro? Hope all is well with you and yours. And look here, man. I am genuinely excited about the opportunity to get to ride with some of you guys who I haven't rode with yet. C1s we rode handlebar, well, not necessarily handlebar to handlebar, but we certainly smashed out several, at least a few hundred miles together. And it was great. It was great. I really do enjoy getting the opportunity to meet different people. The worst critics are those who can't do. And look at here, Teflon. Not only are they the worst critics, but they ain't thinking about nothing until you start thinking about it, until you start making the efforts, making the movements toward it or whatever. Then all of a sudden okay. So yes, they are the worst critics. Can't do it to save their life or nobody else's, but always got something to say. It's a shame. It's a shame. But it is a thing called life. It's a thing called life. And in this thing called life, we have to understand it, even though we don't understand it. I'm saying, you got to understand that this is what happens, even though you don't understand why it happens. Because for the life of me, I cannot understand why people choose to be so negative, why people choose to fight you when you're fighting for them. It takes me to, this is the Retro Philosophy Show, so please excuse me because we like to reference scripture from time to time in the word of the Lord. And so in the word of the Lord, we find the story of a man by the name of Jacob. Jacob was, he had several nicknames: conniver, schemer, supplanter, trickster. And all these things he became because mama tried to help God out. But we won't get so deep into that. But anyway, Jacob finally gets to a place. Can I say this, guys? Let's see. I think I can. The true you will always come out. That's why I'm saying, let's get this party started, because the party cannot start until you get there. And so hopefully something is said today that will encourage you to release the beast. I mean, not the beast for real, but release the real you. Some of us, the devil is a lie. Some of y'all, I ain't going to include myself in that one. I'm a equal opportunist, but I'm not putting myself in that one there. Some of y'all, well, some of them, let's put it that way. Yeah. Because some of them, they have gotten lost in the fictitious facade that was built. They got lost, and that's why you got to be careful with how you allow people to put nicknames on you, because as I've said before, a nickname is usually given based off of an experience or based off of a circumstance or whatever. It's not necessarily who you are. It's not necessarily what you do. It might be what you did, but not necessarily what you do. You understand? Okay. And the people that give you these nicknames, it's because they focus in on one particular trait, ability, habit, etc., etc. You understand what I'm saying? But how many of you know that you, me, we are way more than just the one thing that we've been noticed for? I'm preaching better than you praising. Teflon, thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. And so let's just say, I don't know, big killer, I mean, he killed a few mosquitoes and a cat, and now, they label him big killer, and he feels like, he always got to respond that same way to every situation, and maybe a little far-fetched, but you understand the point that I'm making. You, me, we are way more than just the one attribute that allowed us to become noticed. I often mention it here on the Retro Philosophy Show. Who are you when you're not on your motorcycle? Who are you when that patch is not on your back? Because you can be a great biker, but a crummy person. And ultimately, you become a liability to your organization. Let me bring it in a little closer to the church. I am a follower of the philosophy that you must minister to the total man. Okay, let me see if I can make it make a little bit more sense. And I've said this before, so please excuse me for sounding redundant for those who took notes when I said it the first time. However, when dealing with people, period, and more specifically in the church or pertaining to the church, you got to do more than just preach them into the church. You got to do more than just preach them saved. You preach them saved, if you will, and then you've got to preach them delivered, and you got to preach them encouraged, and you got to, there's so much more to us than just the spiritual aspect. I often say we are spiritual beings having a natural experience. Okay, spiritual beings having a natural experience. Now, here's where I get that from. We understand in the book of Genesis that God created us, right, from the dust of the earth, right? And when he created us, what was that, on the sixth day? When he created us, what did he say? It is very good. Everything else he created, he said it was good. When he created us, he said it is very good. And he did not speak into existence, but he got down with his hands, if you will, and he formed us from the dust of the earth. Okay. But all we had was something that was formed. All right. Jesus didn't just save me. Come on now, because to save you and not keep you is negligence. It's abandonment. It's so many things. And we'll get back to that, Teflon. Thank you for making that point. We're definitely going to get back to that point. So he creates us from the dust of the earth. And now all we have is just a vessel that has been created. And it was created very good. But then the Bible lets us know that he breathed into man. He breathed into us, and man became a living soul. So we are spiritual because we breathe the breath of God. Right. And so we are spiritual beings having a natural experience. Now, with that said and done, if all we address is the spiritual component of who we are, we may be in the category that my uncle warned my mother about many years ago. When my mother first got saved, my uncle I believe he was already pastoring at the time, and he up in New York. But he gives my mother this advice that my mother, I don't know if I know I heard her say it before. What I'm trying to recall if whether or not she was telling me or if I just heard her reiterate it, because she would say it many a times. But she said, but my uncle says to my mother, he says, "Don't be so heavenly bound till you're no earthly good." When you're so heavenly bound that you're no earthly good, it's because you are attending to and dealing with the spiritual things and not the natural things. Jesus did it the other way. First natural, then spiritual. Jesus, the man, when he was on his earthly ministry. Case in point, when the disciples were ready to send the multitudes away, Jesus said, "Where are you going to send them to? They're so far into the journey, they're not going to be able to get any food right now." He said, "Sit them down." And he fed them first naturally, and then he fed them spiritually. So again, back to my original statement, my original point, we must minister to the total man. Okay. So you've got your spiritual side, you've got your emotional side, you've got your psychological side, you've got the financial side. There's so many aspects that go into ministering to people. See, some of you are trying to preach to people when what you really need to do is help them get their finances in order. I mean, like for real, because most people don't have a money problem. They have a money management problem. Now, the preacher driving a Cadillac and got 3 houses and all this, that, and the other. But everybody in the church is just struggling. Meanwhile, they're sowing. Something's wrong with that picture. Something's wrong with that picture. So we've got to minister to the total man. Okay. We have deacons who are deaconing. We have worship leaders that are leading worship. We got preachers that are preaching in our churches, and they preach good. They sang good. They deacon good, but their home is a mess. Yeah, they leave church, go beat up their wife, or they leave church, go beat up their husband. Fussing. The only time you see a smile on their face is when they get to the front door of the church. And then they put on that fictitious facade like everything is A-okay, when in all actuality, they got major problems at home. And I'm not making light of those who may have major problems at home. But what I'm saying is, you cannot continually feed the spiritual man without addressing some of your natural issues. Sometimes those things need to be addressed. Yeah. Sometimes the Bible says if you think your brother has an ought with you, leave your gift at the altar. Leave your spiritual things there and go deal with the natural things first. Then you come back and pick up your gift. And okay. So I think I got word to back that up. So Teflon says Jesus didn't just save me, he kept me. Man, he didn't just save me, he kept me. Let me do this real quick. Bada boom, bada bang. Just in case. Where you at? I'm going to have to change that and make it so that it is more readily available. Which I thought I had done. But let's get back into it. Okay, so Jesus doesn't just save us, he will keep us. Now, here's the thing about Jesus saving us and keeping us. Number one, you got to want to be kept. I don't care what you do. I mean, you could be laying it down for your woman. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Making sure she good on every area, every aspect. If she don't want to be kept, she ain't gonna be kept, bro. I'm just saying, so, because a lot of folk, they be like, they see people who was in the church one moment and then the next thing you know, they out of the church. Well, excuse me. Well, see, a lot of times people, you can't keep nobody that don't want to be kept. And God is a gentleman. He's not going to make you do anything against your will. I mean, I don't care what they say. It ain't going to happen. He's not going to force us to live right. And we've got to give him the praise willingly. Okay. There it is right there. Let's go ahead and move this way up here as it should be. And I think I'll put that right there, just in case you have some comments or maybe even testimony as it relates to being saved and being kept, etc., etc. Now, let's see here. Saving was good, but his keeping power. Oh man, that. See, now we talking about something. Okay, that keeping power. Ooh, child. I mean to tell you, it's something serious, man. Somebody put in the comment section, won't he do it? Yeah, won't he do it? Yeah, won't he do it? Didn't he do it? Oh, I need some organ music right there. That's my next sound drop right there. I definitely gonna have to get some organ praise drop music, thingamajiggy, whatever going on here. But in the meantime, we'll take an applause. So true story. I got saved at a relatively young age. But don't get it twisted. Up until that point, there was a lot of things that I was a part of and involved in and had done and experienced and so on and so forth. But when I got saved, God did a miracle. He really did. He literally took some things from me, out of me, and just he really annihilated a lot of things. Some of the things of which I was concerned prior to giving my life to the Lord. I went through a process, okay, and there was a phase in my life where I knew I needed God and I knew I needed him on an intimate level, but there were aspects of life that I was so hooked on or addicted to, if you will, and I said I not only. Well, I'll just be honest with you. There were aspects of life that I didn't want to give up. I was getting so much enjoyment out of that, I couldn't see me letting that go. I really couldn't, But God has a way. When I tell you God has a way. And so I finally got to the point where it was like, you know what? I got to be all in, and so I'll never forget, it was a Wednesday night. I went to the church that night and ended up getting filled with the Holy Ghost. And so I was so grateful for what God brought me out of. I mean, real talk. I was grateful. And I think one of the reasons why I was so grateful, and I'd love to hear your testimonies today as well, if you were willing to share, because this is how we get the party started, folks. They were overcome by the blood of the Lamb, the work that Jesus did, and the words of their testimony. You see what I'm saying? So he did his part. Now you got to do your part. Okay, let me get back on track here. And so I was so excited and amazed and just happy for what God had done for me, because not only did he take me out of certain places, but the desire to be there was no longer there. I didn't even miss it, and so my testimony was, the Lord brought me out, and the things I used to do, I don't do, and rightfully so. But I remember when things begin to shift. It shifted, Brother Teflon, from me being so, hey, what's going on, Bernie? Let's make some noise for Bernie in the building. God bless you, sir. It shifted from me being so excited about what he brought me out of to me being grateful that he kept me. So in other words, he brought me out of it, and I acknowledged that. I was grateful, and I was always sharing that testimony with the contrast of where I was versus where I am. Okay. Now, but there were people, and I myself had to go through this phase as well, or this level, or whatever you want to call it, where, because there's a saying, it ain't where you're from, it's where you're at. But there's also a saying that I say, it ain't where you're at, it's where you're going. And depending on where you're going, sometimes you have to let go of where you are. But anyway, it was amazing, because there came a time where some of the things that he brought me out of came back knocking at the front door and the back door and the side patio window. But God says, oh no, I got you now, brother. But what he brought me out of, it was almost miraculous, because he said, a broken and a contrite spirit I will not despise. And so we can get to a point in our lives where we provide certain things that will just now allow God to work. Okay. It will now allow God. It's almost as though it gives him permission to step into your situation, because you provided a particular, that broken and a contrite spirit. You were repentant. You were sorrowful enough to turn from and to look to him. Now, trust and believe. There are situations in your life where you don't even have to do the thing. All you have to do is turn to him with the right heart. And God says, that's all I needed from you. I got it from here. I'll do the rest. Okay. But then there comes a place where God is saying, I'm here and I'm sending you, and you've got to go. You've got to do, trusting me to sustain you. And so when God brought me out of what he brought me out of, it was awesome. But then there came a time where I had to go through what he was sending me through. The trial, the temptation, the hurt, the pain, so on and so forth, But I found out that even in the midst of some of the hardest things, he is still a keeper. Yeah, he's still a keeper. Okay. So let's get this party started. What are we waiting for, folks? What are we waiting for? Let's get this party started. All right. Now, some of us are way more dependent on people, things, situations, and circumstances than we really should be. I'm just telling you the truth. We really are. And sometimes God will get you. He will reduce you to a point in place where you don't have all those things. You're down to nothing. If you're down to nothing right now, just raise your hand in the comment section. True story, seriously speaking, and we will be lifting you in prayer. You don't even have to say what it's all about. Just, but you're down to nothing. God has reduced you. He has broken you down. He has, but let me tell you about the but. But God is up to something. And so even though it looks like you've lost, God is up to something. And he's up to something big. what I like about God is I've learned that his mathematical system is nothing like ours, or should I say mathematical system. It's nothing like ours. Sometimes in order to produce increase, he will subtract and minus and divide. We think we've got to add, multiply, and everything like that. But with God, sometimes subtraction is multiplication. Yeah. Sometimes with God, he will take away so that you can have even more. Come on, church. Okay, let me just keep it moving. So today, we're going to get this party started. Why wait until tomorrow when you have today? Excuse me, Annie, come here for a minute, Annie. Yeah. Y'all remember Raggedy Ann from Tomorrow? Yeah, remember she sang that song? It's always a day away. So if you're waiting for tomorrow, you're never going to get it. Take advantage of the moment you have right now, because tomorrow is always a day away. Who was it? Was it the Winans that sang Tomorrow too? Hold on one second. Let me think for a quick second. I know I'm going to get, let me see. What am I doing? No, we don't want that. We don't want that. We want this right here. Bada boom, bada bang. Let me see. I'm almost certain that they, yes, it's time to get serious. Time is not on our side. Brother, time is winding up. It is winding up, real talk, C1s. It really is. Let's play a little bit of this. I do not own the rights to this music, but let's play a little bit of this. Let's see here. Bada boom, bada bang. Let's see if we can get a little bit of this, little something out of this. Yeah, do y'all remember this song? Oh, we used to love this song, man. Let's get this party started today, folks. We ain't gonna wait until tomorrow. Listen to this.
Jesus said, "Here I stand. Won't you please let me in?"
All right, so he said, "Here I stand," right? Won't you please let me in? Your party ain't get started yet because you ain't let the one that needs to play the. Come on now. All right, let him in, folks. Let him in.
I will tomorrow.
Now he's saying, let me in so we can get this party started. You said, I will, but tomorrow. It takes me back to the Bible when there was a man by the name of Pharaoh, and Pharaoh refused to let God's people go, right? And so what God did was he raised up a man that would go and fight for his people. He raised up a man that would be his mouthpiece, if you will, by the name of Moses. Now, it's funny because Moses is born during a time where Pharaoh ordained, where Pharaoh put a mandate, he put a mission out for every child that was of a certain age to be murdered, if you will, because he had heard that there was one that was going to come and it would threaten his kingdom or his reign, right? And so Moses fit the description, but his mother saw something about her child, and she creates this little bitty basket, if you will, places the baby in the basket, and Pharaoh's daughter finds the baby, and he's raised as the grandson to Pharaoh. Let me speed up the story. And so here he is in Egypt doing all this stuff like the grandson to Pharaoh and all this good stuff. But then he gets to a point where he realized that he was living beneath his privilege. He came to the conclusion and said, I would rather suffer with the people of God than to enjoy the pleasures of sin for a season. Some of you guys are partying at the wrong party. Yeah, you're at the wrong location, my friend, you know, and so we see here in the life of Moses, you know, he gets to a place where all the good things that Pharaoh is offering to him, it's no longer enticing. I know some of y'all don't want to hear this, but some of y'all got to hear this. When you get to a point in your life, where your motorcycle don't satisfy you, I mean, you still enjoy riding it, but you still got that void. your money, you got plenty of money, but you still got that void. You got plenty of friends, you got this, you got that, but there's still something that's just unsatisfied. That's because that's that space that's set aside for God. Remember, I told you earlier in the broadcast that we are spiritual beings having a natural experience. And yes, Teflon, and not in a bragging way, but we got to understand we are spiritual beings having a natural experience. Okay. And so whenever we fail to tend to feed, to acknowledge, to, cultivate that spiritual aspect, then we go hungry, we go missing, we have that void, and so anyway, the story, he kills an Egyptian, he flees for his life, runs for his life, only for God to send him right back. And so Pharaoh hardened, he will not let the people of God go. And so God says, I'm going to send some plagues. And he sends, I don't remember the numeric sequence, but the plague that I'm referring to is when he sent the plague of frogs, and the frogs were all over the land. And Pharaoh sends for Moses to have a conversation, and he says to Moses, he says, entreat your God, ask your God, go to your God, and please ask him to take away these frogs, to take away this plague. And Moses says, okay, you finally, act like you're about to get some good, right? And says, okay, when would you like to? He said, tomorrow. Why prolong? I don't understand, man. So in other words, let's just say you are in a bad place and you could be delivered or brought out, or it could be changed. Would you want it to be changed right now? Or would you say, well, let's make this go in effect on Wednesday? We got to be careful is all I'm saying, folks. Let's see here. All right, folks.
Jesus said, I am he who supplies all your needs.
All right, and since I don't own the rights to the music, I'm gonna just go ahead and stop it there. But I think you get the picture. Tomorrow is always a day away. Don't wait until tomorrow, folks. Do it right now. Furthermore, you're not promised tomorrow, okay? And some of us are saying, well, when I see so-and-so next week, I'm gonna make sure we get this stuff right. You may be promised, well, you're still not promised, but you may see next week, but they may not. You understand the point that I'm making? So handle that business right now. Handle that business today. Tell them sorry. Beg their pardon. Take them out for dinner. Do whatever you got to do. But what I'm saying is, don't wait until tomorrow, because it ain't promised. Let's get this party started right now. Yeah, let's get it started right now. Check this out. I did my hand at a little bit of promoting and stuff like that once upon a time. We used to bring little acts and things like that. We was trying to do our little thing when we was back in the day. And there were times when, just follow me along here for a moment. There were times where, we would strategically bring in a big act, if you will, and we were bringing the big act for the purpose of drawing the crowd. Okay, because most cases, you got a big name, then folks are like, ooh, that's the place. Ooh, they got so-and-so. Oh, so-and-so gonna be there. Oh yeah, I'm gonna check that. I'm gonna slide through and see what's going on and whatever. And so that's one way of doing it. Bringing in the big act, of course, sometimes can be costly in more ways than one. And but it could be also effective. Sometimes it could be, you can get a big bang for your buck, if you will. But then there were times, ladies and gentlemen, saints and ain'ts, everybody, including Lottie Dottie, where you had to be strategic, you had to be calculated. And truth be told, for me in my situation, my situation was on a few occasions that all my resources were what's the word I'm looking for? Were accounted for, and so I couldn't get the big act. I couldn't get the big act and so what I would do was I would build for it. And you can build your thing in such a way that the big act will come to you. Y'all ain't hearing me today. So you can sit around waiting for your opportunity to get the attention of the big act, or you can work what you got right now and the big act will come to you. Let's get this party started right now, and so sometimes what you got to do is you got to work from within. See, sometimes you always want that person to come and speak when you got somebody right within that could speak, and I'm not just talking about preach. That's another problem we have in the church. We want to have all these great preachers and we don't have enough great speakers. Yeah, we want folk to preach to us, but we don't have folk that will speak into us. And not all preaching is speaking into you. Okay. All right. Let me leave it alone. And so you can get your party started right now. And you said, but Retro, ain't nobody there. Ain't nobody there, Retro. And so, you there. And if we're going to speak biblically, he said, where 2 or 3 are gathered, he'd be in the midst. Come on, somebody, and so work what you got. See, here's the thing. I'm getting ready to get on a soapbox, and somebody knock me off if I tear it too long. Okay. A lot of times we hear people talking about miles, right? Yo, they ain't going nowhere. They ain't crossing no state lines, and they just in the clubhouse, or they just okay. And you're better because you're crossing state lines? Okay. All right. Okay. And so, but here's the thing. Sometimes you got to be the one to inspire them to do more. And so you can sit there and look at the 2 or 3 folk that you got, and you can begin to despise them because they're not those folk over there who you think is the grand poobah or the, God's greatest thing since sliced bread. But I will tell you that you are looking at the scenario completely wrong. Number 1, you got apples and oranges. Okay. Number 2, let's go back to the book. The book tells us those comparing themselves among themselves is not wise. So I can't look at my few folk and compare them to your bunch of folk. I can't do that. That's not wisdom. Okay. What I've got to do and what you've got to do is we've got to figure out what is it that we must do to encourage, to inspire, to edify. Come on, somebody, the few that we have. Because again, God's mathematical system is nothing like man's. Okay. So he can take those little 2 fish and 5 loaves and feed a multitude. We got to get the party started. Stop waiting for them to validate your party. Stop waiting for them to put the stamp of approval on your stuff. Stamp your own stuff. That's how you get the party started. And before you know it, it's just like Nehemiah. Y'all remember Nehemiah in the Bible? He got word that his city, his hometown, had been burned down, and it was in shackles. It was in ruins. And so he gets permission from his king to go back to his hometown to assess the damage, to see what's going on. Now, the first thing the king says, Pastor Hightower is in the building. Ladies and gentlemen, make some noise for this awesome man of God. OMG, what's going on, brother? How are you doing? Hope all is well, man. Little is much when God is in it. Yeah, little is much when God is in it. And so Nehemiah, I need for you to look at the story when you get some time, folks. Nehemiah did such a great job on his job that when it was time for him to leave to go check out on his city, we have a few dynamics playing out at the same time. Number 1, the king realizes that the work that Nehemiah was doing for him was so valuable. He didn't want him to be disgruntled, if you will. In other words, he didn't want him to be so focused on his home that it messed with his work there. So he allowed him time and space to go do whatever he needed to do. But he also said, when are you coming back? You can do what you got to do, but I definitely need you to come back. And some of us, when we leave, folks say, whoo, I'm so glad they gone, you know, and we got to change that too. But that's a whole nother show. So Nehemiah gets down there and they didn't pay him no mind when they found out that they were rebuilding the wall. They came by and they looked at it and they laughed because they said, oh, he can't do this. It ain't going to work. But then time goes on and they realize, wait a minute, these folks are still doing this thing. He ain't going, you know, he's just a one-hit wonder. He ain't, you know, hold on now. He's still running his mouth. He's still talking about Jesus. He's still riding that motorcycle, you know. Yeah, we are, because we got a mission. We got a mandate. We got more than a mission. We got a mandate, you know. Okay. And so they paid him no mind. Then they laughed. Then they tried to trick him. They tried to lure him off the wall. So nah, we ain't coming down. The work we're doing is a good work, and we cannot come down from off of this wall, you know. And so what I'm saying, ladies and gentlemen, is that we have to understand that what we are doing is important. And I'm not going to wait for you to give me a stamp of approval. I'm going to work what I got, and I'm going to work with what I got until God bless me with what I need. Come on, somebody. You see, some of you, well, I don't want to sound like that. Some people, not all, but some people, they sit around complaining about what they don't have, but they fail to see what they do have. And what you have might not be what you need, but it is what you have. So work what you got till he gives you what you need. True story, man. I started cutting here, and I told this story not too long ago. I started cutting here when I was about 12 years old. Started cutting my little brothers here, and then some of the other little, you know, nappy head ninjas in the projects in the neighborhood. And I started out with one of the little cheap, you know, CVS clippers, you know, as you can get at CVS, Walls or whatever. They were very inexpensive and just not good. And I worked with them, and I never forget, I had my sights on a pair of Masters and a great clipper. But you know, I was 12 years old. I ain't had that kind of money. I was doing free haircuts, and then when I did start charging, I was only charging $2. And then once I got good, I started charging $5. And so I remember when I finally when I bought my first pair of Masters clippers. I mean, you couldn't tell me. And it was just like, I was like, whoa, it was night and day. The precision of the clipper, the accuracy of the clipper, the quality of the clipper. It was just phenomenal in comparison to what I had been working with. Okay. However, please understand, when I had that little cheap clipper, I had to perfect my ability, my skill, if you will. Come on now. See, the high dollar stuff does a lot of work for you, but the cheap stuff, it causes you to perfect your gifts. It causes you to perfect your skill, and so that you're not leaning and depending on just the equipment, if you will. So in other words, you can put a cheap $15, $20 clipper in my hand, and you can take a high dollar $200 some clipper, and I'll outfade your behind every single time, because I'm good like that. I'm not conceited. I'm just convinced. I'm just telling you the truth. I mean, it is what it is. I know what I know, and I can work a clipper. You know what I mean? But I had to use what I had until I could get what I needed. And the reason why I needed that high dollar clipper, here's the deal, folks, because I could do a good cut with the cheap clipper. But the cheap clipper, here's where the money maker was. When I first started out, I did, you know, a couple kids here and there in the neighborhood, right? But once I got good and developed a reputation for cutting hair good, more people started coming. So I'm at a point now where I was cutting hair more frequently. He's aiming right like that with my trainer. Amen. That's it. That's right. High Tower trainers, man. You know what I'm saying? High Tower, he doing his thing, man. High Tower Athletics. And so see, here's the deal. So now I'm cutting hair more frequently, almost all day, and the cheap clippers couldn't keep up. They would get hot. They would bog down. If I'm just doing 1, 2, maybe 3, something like that, you can get it done. So there came a time where I needed something that was high quality that could take the heat and could be, used all day, because it got to a point where, especially once I opened up Miracles Hair Salon. Oh, I tell you, I get into some days 7 o'clock in the morning and wouldn't be leaving until about 12, 1 o'clock at night, if not later, especially during the holidays, man. And literally all day long, just cutting all day long, So anyway, but let me get back on track here, ladies and gentlemen. And Pastor Hightower, by all means, please put a plug in the comment section, the information for your training business, brother. And so that way we can put that up on the screen as well. Okay. Whatever information and as much as information as you would like to share, put it in the comment section. And if you have any flyers or anything like that for your business, make sure you inbox me those, and I can put those in with my other promotions that I do. So we would love to do that. We would be honored to do that. Pastor Eric and I, we served together in what was affectionately called the Gospel Squad on 89.9 WSCB. I was the gospel ambassador, and he was what was his title? We had the DJ saying, what was yours, Hightower? What was it? It was I'm drawing a blank here, but we had some great times up there on that radio station, man, serving the Lord and serving the community and playing that good old gospel music. Yeah. DJ Saint. Yeah, DJ Saint. Yeah, because we had the radio deacon and the DJ Saint. Yeah, there we go. Okay. The senior moment. Yeah, the DJ Saint, man. We would get up there, man. Man, we had some good times, man. Let's see, I have cheap walls clippers and my Andes clippers in the crib now. Yep, that's what it was for me too. See, once I had them cheap old wall, you can get them real cheap, man. And then I stepped up my game and got me a set of Osters, and they were pretty good. Fast feed, they served their purpose. But when I hit them Masters, that was a whole nother level, man. Whole nother level indeed. So let's get this party started, folks, okay? And that's what I'm going to leave you with on today. Stop waiting for someone else to validate your greatness. You are great all by yourself, of course, not excluding the Lord, okay? Because as the scripture tells us, this is the Lord's doing, and it's marvelous in our eyes, all right? So, yeah, don't wait until tomorrow. Don't wait until next week. But you can literally start right now. Despise not small beginnings. Okay. You might be going through your training phase right now. Yeah. You're going through your training phase. And this is the time where you need people to either see you or not see you. Yeah. This is the time where you need people to see you or not see you. What I mean by that is, if they can't see you before the glitz and glamour, then they're not going to see you. You don't want them to see you when you have the glitz and the glamour. In other words, you want people to be attracted to you because of who you are, and not because of what you have. I'll even take you being attracted to me for what I have to offer versus what I have in my hand, if that makes any sense. If you are attracted to somebody for what they have to offer, it's because you see the potential in them. Even seeing what I have to offer doesn't necessarily mean I have it in my hand. You just see it in me, and you need people that can see it in you, because in many cases they help extract it. They help pull it out of you. They help it manifest, if you will. Because we need people who will believe in us, because you will get to the point in your career and your life and in your walk where you don't see what God has placed in you. Maybe it's because of all the battle scars and this, that, and the other. And someone would say, nah, Brother Hightower, I see it. I see you doing it, man. You can do it, man. And so you need those kinds of people. They're not there because of what you have in your hand. They're there because of what you have in your heart. Okay. And there's a big difference. Don't get it twisted. Strong Tower Athletics. We are going to be located in South Windsor, Connecticut. He'll send the address once they move it. So, ladies and gentlemen, Tower_strong on IG. You can find him there. And let me tell you a true story, man. Brother Hightower has always been a good dude. He's always been a good dude, and I've always looked up to my brother, man. I really have. And he would probably say the same thing about me, but while he was looking to me, I was looking to him, man, because he had it, man, and he still does. But, you know, he was, you know, average dude, you know, I mean, you know, and then I remember after a while, all of a sudden he was just swole. I mean, I don't even know when he got so deep into the athletic side of things, but like, dude is like, every time I look at him, I'm like, I can't believe this dude is this big, man. I'm talking about muscles. I mean, he dude got biceps and triceps, and I'm like, dude, when did all that happen? I'm sitting here with this dad bod, and you know, and it's like, I wish I was in Connecticut so I can get into the programming, and you will get me a little, you know, 3.5 pack at least, you know, until I just said, you got to work with what you got till he bless you with what you need. Right. So, but you know, it would be, how do I want to say this? For someone to be an athletic director or an athletic whatever, fitness trainer, and not look that way, then it wouldn't make sense. So you got to get your party started. You can't be sitting here looking sad and pitiful and think somebody's going to come and join your parade. It's not going to happen. Lift up your head, O ye gates, and be ye lift up, ye everlasting doors, and the King of glory shall come in. Who am I talking to? I hope you're listening. Get your stuff together. Shake yourself. It's going to be all right. I know it's lonely right now, and it might even be difficult, but shake yourself and get this party started. Yeah. I remember when we used to go to the club, right? Y'all forgive me for looking back, okay? I ain't looking back in that sense, but I remember we would go to the club, and the DJ, it's early, right? So he ain't gonna hit you with the, the kill shot yet. He gonna get you ready. He gonna get you ready. He said, I tell you my testimony on that later. Okay, good deal. So matter of fact, we're gonna get you on the show if you don't mind. And how about you tell this testimony on the live broadcast, and we'll have you interviewing, and we'll talk about your fitness business and all that stuff. Let's work on that, Brother Hightower. Let's work on that. So what was I saying, guys? Bada boom, bada bang. Lost my train of thought. But at any rate, oh well, I guess it wasn't meant to share. But we've got to make sure, ladies and gentlemen, that we are doing what we've got to do, and not waiting for people to validate. Oh yeah, there we go. Not waiting for people to validate us, right? So the DJ would, he would, and even us when we was on the radio, you kind of work up to the climax. You kind of work up to the chart toppers, and for me, what I would do when I got into the radio station and got up to the radio station, number one, I would answer the phone, because it would normally be Reverend James Sowell Jr. or his wife. They would usually be like the very first caller of the morning, and Brother Hightower could attest. He could confirm. And I would answer the phone, and they would, make their request or whatever, or maybe just, just talk, because we did have people that would call just to kind of, sometimes give a testimony, and sometimes just, say hello and things like that. But for me, I would start out with some old quartets, some soul stirrers, some nightingales or something like that. I just take them back. And it's about 6 or 7 o'clock in the morning. So most of your older folk are up at that time, and that's what they wanted to hear. And we would make our way on up the charts, and grandma, there you go. Yeah. Grandma, call and making their daily requests. But we would work up to the point where, for me anyway, we would usually, after a little bit of quartet, I might slip into a little worship and praise. And then before the end of the show, man, we just be fired up, man. Phone lines be lighting up and everything. We couldn't even get to the rest of the requests and everything. But my point is, you can get the party started right now. You don't have to, start out with all the chart toppers, but you take some throwbacks, some oldies but goodies, and so what does that look like? When I think of the goodness of Jesus and all that he has done for me, when I look back over my life, because see, right now, granted, you might not be where you want to be, and it might not be happening the way you want it to happen. But when I look back over I'm looking back, I'm pulling for some oldies but goldies. What God did for me is what he can do for me, and what he can do for me is what he will do for me. Y'all ain't hear me up in here this morning. I'm preaching better than your praise. And somebody say amen in the comment section, please. I just want to borrow a virtual deacon for about 5 minutes, and then I'm gonna get out your way. Okay. And so you've got to sometimes pull on those oldies but goldies. You know why? Because he's the same yesterday, today, and forever. Sometimes you are so focused on the problem that you fail to see the solution. And I promise you, the solution is always somewhere thereabouts in your praise. Praise will confuse the enemy. All right. And so don't wait until tomorrow. Matter of fact, Brother Hightower used to play this song all the time. You sure enough did, the Winans. Yes, sir. So, ladies and gentlemen, saints and ain'ts, everybody, including Lottie Dottie, I'm just grateful today for all that God has done for me in my life. He's been a faithful friend. He's been everything that I need him to be, and even more. Don't wait until tomorrow, folks. Yep, don't wait until tomorrow. But get up and begin to give him some praise, some glory, and some honor. That's all I got for you this morning, man. That's all I got. I'm going to replay this and take some notes and follow my own advice as well, because the word of God is sharper than any two-edged sword, okay? And so it's good for those who hear it and those who are speaking it, okay? And so Dominic, God bless you, sir. God bless you, and thank you for joining the Retro Philosophy Show on today. It is what it is, folks. It is indeed, man. But don't wait until tomorrow. On your own time. I don't own the rights to this music, but in your own time, I want you to go on YouTube and type in Tomorrow by The Winings. Listen to that song a couple times. I promise you it will bless you, okay? I promise it will bless you. And then I want you to go throughout the rest of the week with that in mind, okay? Remain conscious of where you are in life right now. Remain aware of what's going on right now, okay? Everything happens for a reason. Even though it might be disappointing, it happened for a reason. I'm gonna get out of here and get out of y'all's way. Please stay tuned. We will be having the one and only Pastor Eric Hightower on the Retro Philosophy Show at a future date to discuss Hightower athletics, to hear his testimony, and quite frankly, for me and him just to sit down and just reminisce, chop it up, and from the days of the Gospel Squad. Yes, indeed. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I love it. God is good all the time, and all the time he's good. Keep me in your prayers, folks. We got a few things that we got to, we're gearing up, and this is a leap of faith, because currently my bike is broke, and it ain't working. Well, she's working, but she ain't working right. But what we are doing is we are gearing up for a ride. Y'all know I like to ride my motorcycle sometimes, right? This particular ride is called the Three Flags Classic. Okay. The ride will begin in Canada. So I've got to get from here to Canada. And then it'll be about 4 days of straight riding. And so we are excited about it. There is, some fees and costs associated with it. So anyway, that's what we are gearing up to. When I ride my motorcycle, I'm not just riding it just to ride it. I think every mile is a ministry opportunity, and so I get a lot of, enjoyment and fulfillment out of riding my motorcycle. But as we often say, collecting miles and smiles. And so I was sharing this on the other day. If you would like to be a sponsor of sorts, then we would certainly appreciate that, and we're going to open up the opportunity for that to take place. For those who want to support us. I did get a phone call the other day saying, man, what you need? And I said, no, man, I'm not going to do that to you. I'm not going to do that to you, you know. And I don't even, they weren't even calling based on this. But then I thought about it after I hung up, and I was like, you just put that in the air, and now someone is calling to offer you something, and you saying no. I mean, like, really? So I thought about that, and so yeah, we're gonna say yes to the dress, as they would say. We're gonna say yes to the donation. Cash App is on the screen if you want to do so, and the what do you call it, in the notes section, just put 3 Flag Classic or whatever, or to help Retros Ride or something like that. And so we're going to be gearing up with that. For that, we'll be talking a little bit more about the 3 Flags Classic. You can go back and watch my previous video. I think it was on Saturday night that we did it. Was it Saturday? I think it was Saturday night. But we will be talking about it a little bit more details about the route. That way, some of you guys may be in the area where the route will take me, and we might be able to dap it up while we're coming through your area. That would be cool. Okay. But until then, folks, we want you guys to be blessed. Have a great day. And remember, God loves you. And so do I. Oh, hold on one second. Let me see what Dominic says. He says, when you ride for the Lord, there are always opportunities to share the message of hope at every fuel stop, food stop, and rest stop. Dominic, you are absolutely correct. You are absolutely correct, man. And it is simply amazing at the opportunities that are there, you know, which is why I tell people all the time, you know, get out and ride, man. Get out and ride and out of your area. Dominic, what state are you out of, brother, if you don't mind sharing? I see Deacons MC. And so be interested to know where you're out of. Just in case we're coming through your area, man, we'd love to break bread and just, you know, have some time to fellowship, because that too is what it's all about. Oh, California. Okay. So I will be coming through there, because we have to cut across west, and then we're going to go into Canada from California. So depending on what part, you know, I'll inbox you later on and get your info. And hey, who knows, man, we might be able to make it happen, man. I've got some folks out there in the California area, and that is a beautiful thing. And it's also a beautiful state. I will say that one of the highlights for me when I got to California, you already know, when it was time to lane split. Oh my goodness. I wish we can get that here in North Carolina, man. Lane splitting is the truth, man. It's where it's at. It's where it's at. All right, ladies and gentlemen, saints and ain'ts, everybody, including Lottie Dottie. We're going to get out y'all's way, man. Thank you for pressing play. We'll talk to you guys tomorrow.
I done said all I got to say.
No, I know.
A lot of people like to hold back, but I don't hold back nothing. I take just like it is.
Yo, what up? This is Marvin Gibson, a.k.a. Big Gift, and you are now tuned in to the Retro Philosophy Show.
Say, man, you know what it is, man. Special guest in the building. Much love and respect to my man Retro stopping through, y'all. Y'all know what to do.
Big Cell. You still keeping it 100.
Danger, danger, danger.
People who real now are endangered species. Nobody wants to be around them. People are afraid of them. Being a real nigga now, it's like you're an endangered species.
Whenever you got somebody that's living with a facade, they always see authenticity as a threat.
Hey now, this is the Mileage Bully, the Moto Mob CEO, home of the Moto Mob where legends are made. You are now tuned in to the Retro Philosophy Show. Like, share, and subscribe. You know what to do. Press play.
On my mama, on my hood, I look blind. Oh Lord, I look good. Touch my swag.
Yes, sir.
I wish you would. on my mama.
Yeah.
On my.
Yeah.
On my mama. On my hood.
That's when you know you're born for something. When you can walk out and don't care what people say, don't care what they do. You found what you've been looking for, and I'm dead on course now. That don't mean there's not ups and downs. That doesn't mean there's not disappointments. But what it does mean, you have found what you were born for. Yes, sir. And if you turn your back on what you're born for, then God begin to whip you until you get your act together, because he's not going to let you go until you do what you're born to do. Yes,
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's your man Kodak, the most hated, coming to you live from the Retro Philosophy Show, where I always listen to my man, 50 Grand, Pastor Retro. You know what it is.
It's your boy Retro. I'm actually privileged to be down here at Rib Breed Clubhouse in Fayetteville with my man Big Frizz and his beautiful wife. And so on behalf of Kingdom Alignment Motorcycle Ministry, we wanted to present both of them with their pad for the NC Four Corners ride. They knocked that joint out officially. And so we appreciate y'all, ma'am. Appreciate you, okay? The backseat miles matter. They matter.
Backseat miles.
So if you want to hit up the Four Corners of North Carolina or whatever state it is, make sure you get at your boy Retro. We'll get you in touch with the right registration for the state that you want to do, and the rest will be history, man. So Big Frizz, man, appreciate you, boss.
I appreciate you. Sure. Another one next week.
That's what's up. That's what's up.
All right.
Green,
trying to get them all. All of them. All of them.
Mission 448.
All right.
Let me see that. Let me see that. Let me see that pass. You see it?
Boom.
So, ladies and gentlemen, we have here with us the Studs and Stilettos. Not Studs and Stilettos, but Studs and Stilettos.
That's a different show.
That's a different show.
That could be wild.
That could be wild, you know? But they came all the way down from Tennessee and to do the NC Four Corners. It's been a pleasure even preparing for the ride, talking with them, and an even greater pleasure to have the privilege to ride with them. For this portion of the trip, we caught them in Statesville and rode them up to the last corner, which is here in Sparta, as you can see in the background, Sparta Town Hall. Yes, indeed. We made it. We made it. So any highlights, anything that anybody wanted to talk about as far as the highlight for the trip for everybody maybe?
The beach.
The lunch at Oceanic.
Oh,
and
yeah, that was
the
beautiful.
south side of
That was nice.
Beautiful weather.
Beautiful weather.
Yeah.
When you guys said you were,
lucked
when you guys said you was launching, I looked at the weather. I said, man, you guys couldn't have picked a better day.
Right?
Yeah,
It turned
yeah,
out perfect.
yeah, perfect.
Today's the best day.
Yeah.
Today's the best day.
And so from here, will you guys hang on a little bit, or you headed straight back to Tennessee?
Back to Tennessee.
Okay. All right.
Yep.
Back to Knoxville.
Yep.
So we have the patches here. You guys can come get yours. Who's next? Let's know in the comment section. But there you are, sir. Kill Bill.
Thank you.
Young lady.
Thanks, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Sparkle got it!
Here we go. Let's make some noise.
Going on over here? Talk to me. What we got going on?
We got the Kingdom Alignment Motorcycle Ministry Four Corners runs. Andre, Highway Dre.
Highway Dre
has completed not only North Carolina,
Yes, sir.
but he went on and did South Carolina. Just because he was in the vicinity.
Right.
It got so nice to him, he wanted to get where it was a little bit warmer, so he went on down to get him a few oranges. And a slice of key lime pie down in Florida.
I did.
But he also stopped by to get some peach cobbler while he was in the area. So he went to Georgia and did the Four Corners there as well.
Oh, my word.
So, Highway Dre, we love you, bro. Appreciate
Hey, look.
Yes, sir.
Let me tell you why I do this.
Okay.
Why do you? Wait. I got a question. Why do you do this?
Why do you tell them why you do it?
Because I can.
Because I can.
Just like that.
Switch from work is so amazing. Inject style of mess with me.
Made it up to Detroit, Rare Breed Detroit chapter, and get ready to head on up now to the border and check out this here Canada thing situation. So, you know, shout out to Rare Breed, Eat 'em Up, and all the rest of the fellas, man. Pablo, Whoa, everybody, man. Good ride, man. Good ride, man. Ladies and gentlemen, you already know what it is, man. It's your boy Retro, man. We've come to the end of the road here in Florida anyway. Key West, to be specific. That's the infamous buoy there. And 90 miles to Cuba. I wonder if I'll ever make it to Cuba. Maybe, maybe not. But Ruby Red has made it to the buoy. And we got to make some tracks. Got a lot of people to see while we're here in Florida. Miami, Tampa, you already know what it is, man. Collecting miles and smiles.